Inland family. I'm really excited about this week's video because not only do we have Mark with us today, but we also have Mark's dad Jack and both of his boys Trent and Brad. So we're gonna jump right in. So Jack, I'm gonna start with you this morning. And we know quite a bit about your story, both from what Mark has told us as well as others, but I'm curious to know how you felt at the beginning of your career in joining your dad at Inland and what that was like to work with him every day.
Well, to start things off, my dad was a wonderful person. He wasn't the greatest manager in the world, but he was a good salesperson. And I think he enjoyed the fact that I came on board and was willing to take over that responsibility from him. So that's what kind of happened the first year. We had an antiquated system of pricing and costing, and it just wasn't going to work long term with any growth. But my dad used what they call a port publishing that he would go back to, and it would tell you go to page 12 and it would show you 8.5, 11 single color, and you should charge this much for it using what grade of paper. That didn't tell you what you paid for when you bought the paper, but nationally that would be a given price. So our relationship was always good. Dad kind of didn't care, and he always wanted. He took a $100 expense check every week. As long as he had that $100, he was just fine. So overall, what can I say? That my dad emphasized what a great guy he was, and miss him a lot. And he was wonderful to me in the interference side. He was happy to get rid of all that detail, and so it worked out very well. But still miss him a lot. We've changed a bit in Inland.
Yeah, well, Trent, you've been with Inland for quite a while. You interned during high school, and then you started your career somewhere else, and now you've come back. What was it like coming here after having started your career elsewhere? Obviously, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, it's definitely a much different company than even when I started in the lab back in 2006, I think it would have been, summer of 2006. So in the intervening 13 years, we've gone from having somewhat antiquated workflows as far as how stuff processes through our plants to having pretty darn streamlined processing. And the equipment's all a lot more updated and high tech, and I think that's one of the things that's most exciting is going from the older school printing equipment to really getting some of that newer stuff in that has a little bit more automation to it. It's pretty neat to see.
Yeah. And Brad, you've kind of had a similar path. Whether you guys planned that or not, I don't know, but you did some interning with us in the sales group for a while, and then you went off to start your career. Now you're back. I'm curious, and sorry, you've only been here a couple weeks, so we're kind of throwing you into the ringer, but how does it feel to be working for a company that your great-grandfather, started 75 years ago?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's something that when you get here, you really feel kind of a closer sense to everything. At my previous job, it was a bigger corporation, and there wasn't really as much of a sense of teamwork. And it's something here where you really do feel that teamwork aspect, and just kind of, when I take a step back too and think about, how long it has been going on. To come in on the 75th year is really cool as well. Like when I came in, the last time I was here, it was 4 years ago, and it was so different, and now kind of being a part of the celebration and seeing where we came even from 4 years ago, and then being able to also look back on the 75 total years is pretty surreal.
Yeah. So Jack, how does it make you feel to sit here and have Mark here and have both of his boys here, and they're now all working and running a very successful company that your father started? What goes through your mind?
Well, you know, history of companies, many don't last 4 generations. And I think we're very fortunate so far that we've lasted, or we're into our 4th generation as employees. And I only hope that either Trent or Brad can succeed their father in being running the company, but time will tell. I think they both understand it's a two-way street, and I'm sure that I'm glad to see that they have worked outside inland to begin with. I know both of them have worked here in the summer in internships, and always been a hard worker, and that's never been a question. But as things change, and I think as a company grows, it takes different individuals sometimes to be successful, and only time will tell. So, but the opportunity I think is great. I hope to give them the best of luck, and I hope I'm here to see a little bit of it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we've had a very successful 75 years. We've seen a lot of growth. We talked about it and change. Mark, what are you most excited about for the future of Inland?
I tell you what, I'm most excited about things that kind of Trent mentioned and Brad mentioned too. The fact that, you know, we've got competitors who have grown very, very large. We know consolidation is going to continue in our industry. We see that brings opportunity, and I think we have an opportunity to seize a lot of that. You know, a lot of what our customers, clients are going to not like about a lot of that consolidation. I think we can seize on it. So that's what excites me. I think the other thing that's neat is as we've brought young folks into the business. You know, obviously workforce development is such a big deal today, and getting kids interested in manufacturing is a big part of that, because you know, unfortunately, the kids' parents today have that image of factory work as dirty and grimy and unsafe, and you know, today it's anything but. So it's been really fun to watch, say, 8th graders come into our factories, like at Airport Road, walk through and just be amazed at how cool the stuff is that we work with and how cool it is what we do. You know, and as I like to say at orientation to all of our new employees, the thing that really gets me excited about our business is the fact that we can walk into any store in North America, Europe, heck, almost anywhere in the world, and see something that we've manufactured.
Yeah.
And the fact that what we manufactured for our customers is also their primary advertising and really the bellwether for their brand, that's what's really exciting. You know, packaging is only growing, it's not shrinking. So somebody next to me made a really good decision in the 70s to go into packaging,
Yeah.
into labels, and I think, you know, that's why we were successful, because I think if we'd obviously stayed a commercial printer, we'd be having a very different 75th celebration.
Well, we wouldn't fill this room.
No, that's true.
How about you, Trent? You've been here now for a handful of years and experienced a lot of different things. What are you most excited about?
I think I'm most excited about all the newer product offerings we're working on and how we're continuing to develop those. From IML is pretty established for us, but going into shrink sleeves, some of the flexible packaging stuff we're working on, it's all very interesting, and for me as an engineer, it presents a lot of problems that we can solve, so it makes it a lot more interesting to come into work when you're working on those types of things.
For sure. And Brad, obviously you're just kind of getting back into the business, but as you come in and are getting your feet wet, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, I think just to kind of touch on what I said earlier too about just the last even 4 years of growth. I think the growth is what really excites me. I did intern previously in the sales group, and now going back into the sales group, I'm in a position with 5 other people, and it's really, my growth has been really kind of a lot faster thanks to being a part of that team of with those 5 other people, where if I have something challenging come up, I can bounce it off of them, and it's really helped me a lot. So, and I think that anybody who else joins that team will kind of see similar things and grow as well.
Great. So Jack, I guess we'll kind of finish it off with you. Obviously, you and your family have been very dedicated to Inland over the years and the success of the company. And as we're celebrating 75 really good years here, What would you like to say maybe to our past, our current, and future employees?
Well, I think that they can be confident that our thoughts are with our employees. We treasure them, and we don't try to lord over them. And I think just that, you know, I think they can be confident that if anybody can run this facility in the competition that's coming forward, I think Mark is the guy that can continue to do it. And hopefully we've got two young men here that are capable to add even more to the management staff. So I'm excited for the family. And I think the employees should be excited that they work for a company like Inland. And Mark's done a wonderful job. We may not have started out thinking he was going to do a wonderful job. But we have similar temperaments. And sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad.
You talking about me and you?
Yeah.
What they used to say, that the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree?
I think they said that. I don't know where you got that in this case. Anyway. But no, Mark and I kind of had some conversations at times, and it was healthy, and we understood. We understood who was in charge of what, but Mark has taken on the responsibility at a fairly young age, and by that time we were a pretty good sized company. And like I said before, what Mark has done, I think, is just put a process attached to the job task. And I think instead of wasting time, we're gaining time. And I think if somebody went back to my way of doing things in 1990, I think we'd find, wouldn't be in business. We've been one of those that consolidated. We wouldn't be capable of running the combined companies like that. So it was interesting to watch Inland go through these two acquisitions. I think we learned a lot as a company, as individuals, and we had some warnings from some different individuals, but I think we were excited about the opportunity. And I think in the future we'll be just a little bit more careful, which is great. And I just want to congratulate Mark on the job that he's done. Work doesn't bother him at all.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I think one thing too, you know, again, you know, Dad talked about Grandpa, and you guys never got to meet Grandpa, but you're right, Grandpa was just a fantastic individual, the nicest man you'd ever want to know. And heck, you know, growing up, a lot of people in La Crosse knew my grandfather, and he was a tough man to you know, to hold yourself up to, because people loved him.
Called everybody the old goat.
The old goat. And then Dad, you know, I had a tough act to follow too, because everybody knew my dad. And so I learned a lot from Dad. He handed me a great company. You know, I got to take the reins of something that I could grow, because I didn't have to worry about a lot of stuff day to day, because it had been taken care of. And you know, and that's going to be the same thing. You know, Dad, you talked about 1990 and how different it was then, and quite honestly, 20 years from now, it's going to be way different than it is today, and it's going to be beyond me. And I know that, and that's why you got to continually bring in really good people who are typically smarter than you and have better experience than you, and that's what's going to grow us into the future, without a doubt.
Well, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
And thanks, Inland.